Eliza held Michael's hand tighter. Her knuckles were white against his dark skin. The wind blows through the skeletal trees. Its bare branches glided across the dark sky. The once charming mountain town of Lawgrich has become the terrifying stage for their worst nightmares. They arrived last week. Seeking solace and a new beginning, famous photographer Michael yearns to capture the city's legendary autumn foliage. Eliza, an aspiring writer, dream of quiet inspiration, but the bright shades they expected were replaced by a pervasive gloom. The houses were completely closed. The paint peeled and the windows cracked like gaping wounds. An unsettling silence hung heavy. The only sound was the distant wailing of crows. The day they met the dark stranger began innocently enough. They are exploring an abandoned church on a hill. Gothic spires reach into the bruised sky. A tall, gaunt figure appeared from the shadows. His face was obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. His clothes consisted of tattered black and gray cloth. He said in a hoarse whisper. His words were filled with cryptic warnings about the darkness that gripped Lawgrich. Fear gnawed at Eliza's skin. But Michael, ever the pragmatist, dismissed the story as just folklore. Their encounter with a stranger is an eerie transformation. Strange symbols began to appear everywhere, scratches on doors, carvings into fallen trees. The shadows seemed to be distorted by invisible life. And whispers followed them like ghosts. Michael grew suspicious and became pale and withdrawn. Eliza clung to him. Her heart was like a hummingbird stuck in her chest. One night, a blood-curdling scream shattered the oppressive silence. "It's from Miss Agatha, the only resident who never left Lawgrich. They found her front door stuck open. A single chair was overturned, the only witness to her terror. The police were summoned from a remote mountain town. No trace of Miss Agatha was found. And there were no signs of forced entry." Fear becomes tangible. Eliza dreams of a skeletal figure with hollow eyes. Beckoning from the mist, Michael began mumbling in his sleep. The name fell from his lips, Azoth. The stranger appeared again. A cold smile appeared on his lips. "The darkness is hungry, Michael," he muttered, his voice dripping with malice, "and Azoth is its heart." Desperately wanting answers, so they raided Miss Agatha's now vacant house. They were hiding in a dusty attic. And found a collection of leather-bound journals. The spider's handwriting speaks of an ancient evil. A creature called Azoth that devours despair. And imprison the soul in eternal darkness. The stranger seemed to be its devoted servant. The final entry made them shiver. It talks about rituals. Summoning in the night of the crimson moon. It's tonight, panic struck Eliza. They stumble upon a horrible game they don't understand. And the reward is their own soul. The night sky was red with blood as they rushed towards the abandoned church. A stranger stood at a desecrated altar. Chanting in a language that damages their mental health. A pitch-black vortex swirled around him. Branches crawled towards unsuspecting victims. "Run!" Michael screamed. Pushing Eliza toward the exit, she stumbled, looking back to see him consumed by darkness. A choked cry escaped her lips. Tears streamed down her face, blurring the nightmare in front of her. Grief and rage raged within her. Azoth couldn't win against the power of the challenge. She caught a fallen candlestick. It was heavy and cold in her trembling hand. As darkness rushes towards you, she slammed the metal into the swirling vortex. A shrill scream filled the air. The vortex retreated. Spit out, Michael. His clothes were torn. His hair stood on end. Crumpled stranger, his eyes widened in a horrible mix of pain and anger. Darkness dissipates, leave the silence behind. The dawn has come, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and gold. The nightmare was surreal. It's a strange memory. But the scars remained, the emptiness in Michael's eyes and the cold knowledge they held. As they left Lawgrich behind, they knew the darkness had not been completely conquered. Azoth might just be lying dormant, but somewhere in the shadows. Strangers are waiting for his return. And they, forever bound by their terrible ordeal, will be the only ones who know.